Hi, I'm Sarah and you're watching the Market Bull. It's time to dive into this week's Market Bulletin. Global markets experienced a positive week. In the US, the S&P 500 and Nasdaq both posted strong gains, buoyed by optimism over potential Federal Reserve rate cuts. The Dow Jones also rose over 1,000 points, reflecting investor confidence. In Europe, the FTSE 100 reached record highs, while Japan's Nikkei 225 rose by 1.5%, supported by the Bank of Japan's decision to maintain its policy rate at 0.5%. To commodities, and gold prices continued their unprecedented rally, rising to over $5,000 per ounce, driven by central bank demand and investor interest amid market uncertainties. Crude oil prices rose due to supply disruptions, with tensions escalating in the Middle East. However, the doomsday scenario for energy markets did not occur. The contained moves suggest that Middle East politics may not be the dominant force in oil markets they once were. Copper prices saw positive gains as it continues its strong 2025, up 24% for the year. However, iron ore and aluminium faced downward pressure amid concerns over global demand. To global news, and markets will be closely watching developments at the US Federal Reserve. Speculation is mounting that President Trump may replace Fed Chair Jerome Powell before his term ends in May 2026, potentially leading to an easing on monetary policy stance. This uncertainty has contributed to a decline in the US dollar, which has fallen to a 3-year low against major currencies. Locally, the Australian IPO market showed signs of revival with the successful listings of Virgin Australia and Greatland Resources. Virgin Australia shares rose from $2.90 to $3.23 on debut, reflecting investor confidence in its domestic-focused strategy. Greatland Resources also saw its shares climb from $6.60 to $7.30 on opening day, highlighting a strong demand for resource stocks. In more positive news, the pipeline of upcoming IPOs appears strong. Companies such as GemLife, a retirement housing provider expected to list with a market cap of around $1.58 billion, and AIS Limited, a manufacturer targeting a $200 million raise, indicate a broader market resurgence. For small cap companies and prospective issuers, the success of these IPOs signals bullish market conditions, promising a much more active investment landscape on the ASX for the remainder of 2025. To the small cap space, and this week's small cap mover is Yari Minerals, whose share price jumped 25% following a substantial upgrade to its Rollaston South coal project in Queensland's Bowen Basin. The company announced a 91% increase in the JORC inferred resource, elevating the total resource from 78.9 million tonnes to 151 million tonnes. This enhancement was achieved by integrating open source data from 2 coal seam gas wells drilled by State Gas in 2021 without incurring additional drilling costs. The company is now focusing on accelerating development plans, including site visits to finalise drilling targets for its inaugural campaign in the second half of 2025. In other notable small cap news, Aruma Resources is set to commence maiden drilling in July at the Fiery Creek Copper Project, located in the Mount Isa Copper Belt, comprising roughly 1,400 metres of RC drilling across 9 holes. Indiana Resources is making rapid progress at its Minos Gold project, with further assays from recent RC drilling expected in July, and a diamond drilling program already underway as IDA work towards a maiden gold resource. Infinity Mining has identified an exciting new gold target at its Kangai Copper project, located within the same mineral-rich geological corridor as Novo Resources' John Bull Gold project. New Frontier Minerals have confirmed high-priority drill targets for heavy rare earths, niobium and uranium at its Hearts Range project in the NT, including the newly discovered Old Trafford and Bank prospects. Core Energy Minerals has officially commenced its maiden drilling campaign at the highly prospective Cummins uranium project in SA, set to test approximately 3,000 metres of air core drilling across 50 drill holes. And finally, Equinox Resources have reported final assay results from drilling at its Mata de Corda project in Brazil, highlighted by a high-grade intercept of 13 metres at 14.8% titanium oxide, 3,001 ppm total rare earth oxides, and 870 ppm niobium pentoxide. That wraps up this week's Market Bulletin. As always, keep up to date on the latest finance news at themarketbull.com.au, and we'll be back to recap it all again next week.